Gulf money and the Nile. What's next for Ethiopia's development? The Gulf is pouring money into Egypt, but what does that mean for Ethiopia's development alongside the Nile? Is this just economics or a geopolitical power play? Hello, I'm Sina Exao and this is Analytica Today. Egypt is drawing billions from Gulf states like the UAE and Saudi Arabia, eager to invest in infrastructure, ports, and energy. At first glance, these investments might seem like the lifelines of Egypt's struggling economy, but beneath the surface, could this financial tide be shifting the balance in the tense Nile dispute? Is Gulf capital giving Cairo new leverage to challenge Ethiopia's Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam project and Ethiopia's sovereignty itself? The UAE and Saudi Arabia aren't just investors, they're key players in strategic chess game. Egypt, strapped by economic woes, has welcomed Gulf billions, including massive projects like the $35 billion Ras El Hekma development. But these funds come with political strings, reinforcing Egypt's position as a regional power broker. With ambitions for military bases and port expansions in Egypt, Gulf states are embedding themselves deeply in the country's future. Could this financial muscle be Egypt's secret weapon to strengthen its stance in Nile negotiations? Or is this pragmatic alignment driven by mutual interests against common regional threats? For Egypt, the Nile is more than water. It's a lifeline for agriculture, energy, and national security. Egyptian officials cite historic colonial-era agreements that heavily favor Cairo and Khartoum, insisting on legal veto powers over Ethiopian dam operations. On the other side, Ethiopia's GERD promises energy independence and economic growth, a cornerstone of its national sovereignty. How does Gulf backing for Egypt tilt this fragile balance? Does Gulf investment translate into diplomatic and military support, bolstering Cairo's hand push for binding agreements that could limit Ethiopia's control? And what does this mean for Ethiopia's right to harness its own resources? The Gulf's role is anything but straightforward. While the UAE and Saudi Arabia support Egypt robustly, they also cultivate ties with Ethiopia, investing in technology and agriculture sectors. Is this deliberate balancing act a pragmatic hedging between competing interests, or might this dual approach complicate Ethiopia's effort to build strong alliances? Meanwhile, reports suggest Egypt's involvement in backing opposition groups within Ethiopia and tightening military cooperation with neighboring countries, raising questions about regional stability. Could Gulf capital tied to these political moves be deepening tensions beyond the Nile dispute? Ethiopia's GERD project is more than infrastructure. It's a symbol of national pride and development potential. If diplomatic pressure fueled by Gulf-backed Egypt limits Ethiopia's water usage, what happens to its vision? Is this really a fight over water or a broader struggle over sovereignty and economic self-determination? How might Ethiopia respond to these mounting pressures? By strengthening its own diplomatic ties, diversifying partnerships, or pursuing alternative strategies? And crucially, can Ethiopia navigate this complex web of economic and geopolitical forces without compromising its development goals? The Gulf's deepening investment in Egypt is reshaping power dynamics in the Horn of Africa. It's not just about cash flowing into projects, it's about influence, alliances, and leverage in one of the world's most contentious water disputes. Does Gulf capital give Egypt the edge to push Ethiopia to the negotiating table on Cairo's terms? Or could Ethiopia's diplomatic savvy turn this challenge into an opportunity? The stakes are high, and the outcome remains uncertain. I'm Sina Exao, and this has been Analytica Today. Where will the Nile dispute flow next? We'll be watching.